All right, here is the week 4 of the PEEP program with Mālama Kaua. This is the Thursday session, and we're welcoming Professor Rajesh Jha to talk about so much. Take it away.
Thank you, Enine. Thank you, Julius, again for inviting me to talk. And rather than talk, I say share some of my thoughts and learn from you people. I'll be talking about poultry overall. So this is our actually beautiful, you can see the chicken facility where I do my research, poultry research, right, Julius? So in the farm, I did a lot of work with Julius farm in the pasture, quite a few trials here. And then on regularly we do on this building. It's in Magoon in the Manoa nearby our school. So today I was thinking to have a bigger picture of poultry production and giving more towards sustainability, how to do sustainable poultry production. But in 2 hours, we cannot cover everything, but I will try to give a bigger picture. Why? I use the word bigger picture because a smaller thing we can talk anytime and every time. And thanks to Julius, he's around and we have been working with him for like long. So he, I believe, master for those kind of thing now. So I'll try to give you a bigger picture, why you really need to do rather than what you are going to do. What you are doing and how you are doing is not big deal. The most important thing is why you are doing. And once you internalize that, feel that, then you can be successful in business, man. Although I'm not business guru, you know, I'm animal scientist, you know, poultry scientist, but I understand that part. Why? I will talk to you that later. And Annie and Julius is smiling because they know what I am going to do that for sure. Okay, so let's start. So as some of you do not know me, and so let me introduce myself briefly. So originally I am from Nepal, veterinarian. So I did my veterinary schooling and then worked for almost 7 years with the government of Nepal as what we call extension specialist, veterinary extension specialist, and working with farmers, mostly the countryside. But we have different scales of farming. So like backyard farming up to very commercial, very large scale farming. I was what we call suggesting, helping, working with for 7 years. And I worked with multi-species, primarily food animals, although there were sometimes pets also, but primarily with food animals. And food animals, there is quite common is chicken, goat, cattle, and buffalo, you know. So these are 4 primary species I worked with for 7 years. Then I went to Philippines for a short training on food and nutrition diploma programming. I'm not sure enough if you have any roots on Philippines, then you know. From there, I went to Netherlands to do my master's. I did my master's in animal science with a specialization in poultry nutrition. And this is why I am poultry guy, you know. And once I did there, I did my second thesis also, extra work. I went to New Zealand, Massey University. And there I worked with a pig model for human objective. And from there, as you can see, New Zealand is the South Pole, world's southeast residential place. Yeah, I went to the world's almost northeast point, Canada. Okay, I went to Canada, extreme cold place in the winter. Nowadays they are like minus 40 degrees Celsius, not even Fahrenheit. And I did my PhD there. I worked with pork production, primarily with the intestinal health, gut health, what I talked, basically same in poultry I was doing. And after finishing my PhD there, I went further up north within Canada, though, University of Alberta. It's called Edmonton in Alberta state. You know. And there I work as a research associate. It's called in Canada, what in American will be like what we call research assistant professor. And then it was too cold. I feel no, enough is enough. Then I landed on Paradise. You know where is Paradise? Yeah. So since 2012, I'm on Paradise, working here and there. So I came as assistant professor, then by climbing the ladders, working, and now I'm full professor. And in addition to regular teaching, research, and working with you people like you, if not personally with you, I work with a lot of farmers here regularly. I also do in different countries. So I'm visiting professor for 4 universities regularly. I used to go every year actually, but because of COVID, I'm not going anywhere. So 2 universities in China, 1 in Korea, and also in Nepal, which is my alma mater, you can say. And also I do lots of consultancy or expertise help work to different countries, primarily in Southeast Asia. So I have visited more than around, I think around 30 countries for professional business. So I never go on vacation to anywhere in the world, but I always travel all around for free vacation while helping the poor people. So kind of getting idea that helps me to learn a lot, rather than I say I train them, I help them. I feel I learn, because when I go different place, different thing I see and I learn, and I share, of course, I share my expertise, whatever and I feel happy and proud sometimes when I see news media in their country that they will be showing they have progress, they have done good. I feel nice. Sometimes they will be sending the links and cuttings. Really gives pleasure, really feels satisfaction, professional satisfaction. And just for your record, most of the time I have been doing those consultancy as volunteer service. You'll be surprised. Of course, they pay my travel stuff, but no incentive. I don't even charge, because those programs I intend for like my real professional satisfaction. Of course, sometimes I charge depending on whom I'm helping. Very frankly, if it is funded program, I really charge. If it is like really farmers helping, I enjoy. Okay, that's my life. Anyway, now that was briefly about me, and I don't think you need to know more about that, more about me, because nothing special I have to share. I'm farming. No matter what is your background, you can do something for the good cause. And what is that good cause? Whatever you are doing, you need to eat, right? Either you like this, or your kids like this, or your family likes this, and so on. Yeah. But whenever you go through, as you one of you mentioned, like it's because of COVID made you do. Some will happen like because drought happened, because this happened, that happened. So life doesn't go straight. Or what I want to say here is, so you might be planning this your poultry enterprise, like you plan, you will be working hard, you have everything in place. Mālama Kaua is going to help you. You are determined, you are motivated, and you will reach your destination of making so much business. The reality of that is not really, it won't happen like this. Believe me, I do not want to discourage you, but I want to make you prepared mentally from any disappointment may come on the way. But the important point is, no matter how many hurdles come, you can overcome, and you should be prepared for that, because never ever life is bed of roses, We're not in personal life, not in professional life, not in business, not in farming. So be prepared for that, because some of ups and downs will be always there. Not necessarily so many hurdles like it is shown in the graphics, hopefully not. Typically in our chicken production, it won't be like this, but you want to be ready for that if anything happens. But the important point is you will make it if you are really determined and you want to continue. That's why it's called, when you are investing somewhere, investment is not meant for next day, and that is called amateur or young investor, that they will invest today and next day morning also they will say, what is the share market price today? It dropped, it went. In a minute you'll think I became rich, in a minute think, oh, I went bankrupt. No, share market is not meant for that. You have to wait for a while, and especially this kind of business is even longer. You don't see one cycle, poultry production cycle you made, wow, such a great crop, and next cycle, oh, some bird lost, I lost. No, this is not. So it's kind of over certain period you will feel what you are. Right? It takes some normalization. With knowing that you all come from different backgrounds, I want to play a video for you. And let's first watch, then we'll talk. Okay? Please read captions. Sound you cannot.
Kama kawaida na waba last minute, mimi naingia kwa kuku na gambut na dashboard. Sasa mimi jua naweka chakula bucket. Sasa immediately naanza kuosha drinkers, atakuwa kuosha drinkers na chakula. Halafu from there sasa ni kuanza kuchukua mayai. Kama feed school imenisaidia na mimi nataka kusaidia wengine. Hao wamefundisha habari ya usafi. Na tangu nianza usafi huku kwangu, huku zangu hazigonjeki, situmiagi dawa. Na hiyo ndio faida kwangu. Sasa mtu anaingia na ana dip na mspray miguu, hapo anaenda huko juu. Samani nilikuwa na 80%. Vile nilikuwa nachukua per day. Lakini leo nimeshoot mpaka 95. Sasa mimi nikaona afadhali nijike kitu niachane na kazi yangu ya kawaida.
What was in that video? Anybody want to narrate for me briefly?
She prays first thing in the morning. And then the guy at the end, a t-shirt said, heaven is real.
Another place, anybody else? That's right, you are right. I just want to hear different opinion. What did you see in the video?
The hygiene, cleaning the boots, which I think Julius mentioned earlier in another session.
That's very critical actually, especially in Hawaii. And I was talking other day, and I will be repeating the same thing. Of course, throughout the session, I'll repeat the same. That's very critical in Hawaii because, you know, sometimes some good things are not good. And Hawaii, one very good thing, I can tell you what we have, what we call ohana feelings, you know, which is not everywhere in the world. Especially if you go to mainland, nobody cares who is next door, right? But here, whole village is our just family. Yeah? And then people will be excited to see your chicken or rooster or whatever you have. They hear the sound, you know, and they will just jump to say, oh, or any kids will just come and see, you know, it's so cute, yeah. When they will see the big palm water, you know, you do not want to let anybody go in. Why? That is very, very critical in poultry farming system. Because that is what we call biosecurity. Bio, as you said, security means, of course, you all know security, keeping yourself safe. But bio means from biological things, yeah. And typically we are talking about pathogens. And that nowadays, because of COVID, we all know, just even say people keep 6 feet away, yeah. In poultry condition, lots of disease, or any animal farm, basically, you call lots of disease are that can come from here and there. You can bring, and it's not only about others. It's about yourself also. That is another big mistake we do. We think it's my farm, I'm the myself, but no, it's not about your farm. It's about the anything you are carrying in your slipper or shoes or whatever, or you are walking around here and there, right? If you go to shopping mall here, there on the beach, you don't know what came with your feet. It's not invisible things, microbes, right? Micro pathogens are invisible. You cannot see what came with, and you bring that. So it's not only do not let others come in your farm, but not yourself bringing outside. But sometimes practical aspect is what we call, that applies strictly in when we have single farm, like commercial farm, large farm, which has like fence, gate, you know, big. But here, if you see Hawaiian structure, it's like, well, again, the word, very amazing word is ohana word here. So families are here, they are nearby, you go here and there. So in that case, actually, what I consider little different approach here, rather than one farm as one farm, one family, all as a one farm, or community as a one farm. It's sometimes beneficial, sometimes harmful, depending on situation. Why? Because literally you have so small population, it's hard to manage, but it's nothing impossible, not literally having a, like, you know, antiseptic or like disinfectant deep in front of your farm, or wearing boot, indoor boot, outdoor boot. That's the best thing, because that's, or the clothes, you don't want to have, bring your fancy clothes, just have one apron hanging wall there, right? Use it, right? So try that best possible. Another important thing, anybody wants to add now? That is,
I liked that she got the education and it increased the yield of her farm. That was interesting to me.
correct. So if you paid attention, she was referring to her laying performance increase from 80 to 95%. What does that mean is, like, if you have 100 eggs, 100 hens, laying hens, now you get 85 eggs a day, 80 eggs a day, but by managing that, you reached up to 95 eggs a day. And that is big improvement, efficiency of production efficiency. Otherwise, you are losing production efficiency, you cannot be competitive in the marketplace. And one thing important here is, I use the word markets. Why? I was going to tell that if you want to do poultry production, make sure you are doing as a businessman. Take it as an enterprise. Even if you have only 10 chicken, you can say, no, I don't have million bird, or I don't have like 500, like somebody might have even there. No. Even you have only 5 or 10, still consider it as a business, not as a hobby farming. Hobby farming is like paid, or even you can have chicken as a 1 or 2 or few for hobby, then it's fine. Then this training or Mālama Kaua is not necessary. That's absolutely for fun, because then you do not consider what is your business, what is your gain, what is your loss. Whenever hobby farming comes, this for fun, like somebody go to casino and lose thousands of dollars, they don't care, they enjoy it, right? But in the business, every cent matters. You see, people go and enjoy, right? Casino, yeah. You lose them thousands of dollars and still say, oh, it was so fun. Can you imagine when I just lose $10 from a wallet, it will be fun? No, see the tendency. But in farming, you want to calculate single pennies, you know. And another important of this brings that. Anybody want to add on that, please? From the video, what you learned or you saw?
I think it was interesting that she said as soon as she went into the house, the chicken house, she emptied the water. to clean the water.
Very critical point. Thank you for very sharp notice. See, so literally, when you do, you have to be very systematic. You have to be very regular. And water is even most important. Sometimes, we pay so much attention on feed, we ignore the water. And whenever I teach my class here to my undergraduate or graduate students, so we teach about, what we call 6 nutrients, in our body or our animal's body, different 6 nutrient classes, carb, protein, lipid, which you all know, right? Vitamins, minerals. 6th is actually water, is the nutrient. And that is the most important nutrient. If you do not provide clean, sufficient water every time, that will impact the intake of feed. Even there will be feed, if there is no water, they will not eat enough. And if they will not eat, they will not grow. Their performance will be impacted. So make sure you have clean water, fresh water available. Fresh is also important. You may think, I ate it enough other day, 3 days, it's still there, so I leave it. No. Imagine yourself if you are given the same food, rotten food for 3 days, although it is so good thing, yeah. It may be the best thing, you love it, but still you don't want to eat rotten for 3 days, yeah. Being freshly served, right? Either microwaved or hot or cold, whatever, depending on the menu, right? So exactly for water, you want to offer only so much that you go and clean and again give fresh water. That's very critical. Thank you for picking that one. Next, please. Anybody other notice?
I think her day was like there's a schedule to it. Yeah. So she does things. So wake up, she pray, but then she does the water, then the feed, and then collecting the eggs, so there's like a systematic thing, I guess. Yeah.
Very important point. Thank you. You see, and that is very critical point again, actually. And actually, I picked the video for some reason. Within 2 minutes, literally gave you everything I will be teaching you for 6 months. Just I have to elaborate that. I can keep teaching that video 2 minutes for 6 months, basically. And I do graduate student. Basically, I teach only that much, only little elaborate. So it's very important in business to have very organized, scheduled. Why? First thing, you will not miss any important piece of this puzzle. It's like a whole system. Animal works, life works, the system. So you're so organized that you are doing everything in order. Second thing, do you know that if you take coffee at 7:30 a.m. and if you took coffee that day 6:30, still at 7:30, you will feel to have coffee. Or if you take lunch at 12 o'clock, you ate something around 11, still at 12 o'clock, you will feel to eat, although your belly will be full. Have you ever noted that? Because our life is like we are running around here and there. But if you cross the 12, even you didn't got lunch for some reason, sometime happens our life. After 1 or so, you don't feel hungry, although your body is asking, for sure you feel, right? Do you know why? Because our brain is built the way, it's like biological clock we call, Our ancestor didn't have clock, today's clock, everybody having in phone or in the wristwatch or whatever, right? But they navigated the life, right? How come? Biological clock was there. And same happens to animals who are actually more sensitive. So it's good to offer it very timely schedule, everything. Another important part of that, if you do that, one thing, in case anybody want to aid, but I don't want to miss that part, was a recording system. When it comes in systematic, if you paid attention, she was having a book, right? And what I call, if you can measure, you can manage. If you can't measure, you can't manage. And let me repeat again one thing I told earlier. You are in business. You are not in hobby farming here. You don't have to be here for hobby farmer. And only you can manage. Manage means what? It's not managing a big, multi-billion business CEO you have to be. You are CEO of your chicken farm. Think this way. You are CEO of your chicken farm, be it 10 roaster, be it 10 layers, or be it 100 or 500, whatever size you have. I don't think there is million body, right? Still you have to manage, then only you can succeed. And only you can manage if you measure it. Measure it means not like tape measurement or body weight only. Kind of record what was input, how much feed you added, how much bird grew, what was the condition, was any abnormalities, normalities, health condition. You all need to record. Why? That will help to make decisions. And decision can be anything: to remove, to call, to market, when to bring, when to new. When you will know when is your 42 day. You cannot remember by head, yeah. When is your marketing day? It's not only one thing you are doing, or you have so many things. If you have record, you exactly know when to deal with your business partner or supply chain, where either your feed is coming or your medicines or what other supplies are coming, or where you are supplying to like a restaurant or whatever vendor you are selling, right? It's production supply chain. Everything need to be recorded. That's very, very critical. So if you can measure, record, you can manage your farm effectively. Make sense? And one important thing, if you paid attention, I hope anybody did. If not, I just without wasting the time, I will tell. She was a full-time employee. Julius is smiling. Did he tell you a secret that he was also a full-time employee? 2012 I came. We met first time in 2013, I guess, right, Julius? He was full-time employee. If I get time, I can show you. I will open all his secret. No, I will not do. Don't worry. Okay. He has a small chicken. Great. Of course, this is what I love about him. You know, dedication. Now you see where he is. He is talking to us, all of us. So now full-time farmer, actually he employs others. Yeah, he has employed even my student at some point. So she was in the video, she was full-time employee. She left the job. Now she's running her business, and it's not impossible. It's not just video, fake video like models, celebrities. You know, this is a real farmer coming from very unprivileged society. You know, what we call, you know, a disadvantaged population. You know that, right? But now she's making life. So it's very important you plan and work, then it's possible. Okay. With this, why I started there, because I wanted to give you a bigger picture. Why? As I mentioned, I do not want to simply share some of the basic things. I can share in the future anytime when needed, but I want to give a bigger picture. So now what I'm going to talk, some of the things. So this is what I was telling you about your story of future. Okay. Now I will be talking broadly, and I will give you some of the thoughts that, as you mentioned, as I was talking, it's not important what you did or how you do. It's more important why you do. And then this will automatically help you generate the curiosity. Learning thing is not big deal once you get the hunger of learning. And there are so many tools, so many resources available around here. And then of course we are always here, college or other people are, Sitar or other people are here to help you. Okay. So now let's start with how we want to do. And I know I am asked to talk about poultry anatomy, but I will not go there much. Of course, I will do that. More about poultry, let's say. So whenever we say poultry, in general, we think of chicken, right? But that's not true. Poultry is a common term. However, that's not wrong either. If you say poultry or chicken, that's totally fine. It's quite commonly used. It's okay. But typically, poultry refers to any domesticated and commercialized types of bird. You see two keywords here came, domesticated and commercialized types of bird used for production of eggs and or meat for human food. It means it must be edible, because we know quite a few birds are around our neighborhood, right? You might see in your backyard and your, like if there is any forest or not even just around back. If that is not edible, means that's not poultry. But that does not limit only to the chicken as a poultry. So in general, you can see I have just compiled information. Quite common one, which most of us know, is chicken for sure. Then turkey, second one, right? Then ostrich also comes. Then, you know, pigeon, then quail. Have you ate quail? Any of you? Quail is amazing. Actually, it's small, but it's amazing. Very good taste. But it's not, I don't see anybody farming here. It's pretty expensive. I don't know how big is market here. Either way, duck, this all comes under poultry. But today I'll be talking primarily on chicken as a poultry, okay? Because this is what objective of this program is, or most of our farmer in Hawaii, we do this. And that will be in general talking about layers and broilers. So whenever it comes broiler, in general, what comes in your mind? Anybody? What is broiler? Other than Annie and Julius?
Like
Meat-
a meat
meat-
chicken.
Meat birds.
Meat birds. Correct. Thank you, both of you. That's correct. Sometimes we get confused with broiler means male birds. No, that's not true. Meat birds is the keyword. Yes. So now I will give you some of the common terms. I believe you are familiar, but just to be clear. So chick, when we call, it can be of either sex, male or female. In the earliest stage, young bird, we call chicks or chick, you know, chicken, plural goes, yeah. Then brood is a group of baby chicken, you know. So in those, like in hats, there are quite a few, might have seen, of course, in Kauai, you see a lot of, sometimes you will see pipes and going on. Those all are called brood, a group. And pule is called young female chicken. What is young definition? Until it is ready to start laying hens, you know. And in human language, if you want to make it simplified, just for convenience, please don't take other way. To understand, pule is the girl. What is the difference between girl and woman? When you are not married, what we call socially, or not in the production cycle. Same is here, pule and hen goes difference here. You know, So girl and woman, pule and hen. But again in hen, there is two different here. Hen is matured female, but maybe producing, maybe not in a certain state. But when it is producing in physiological state of production, then it is layer for sure. A hen can be layer, okay, or not. But all layers are hen for sure. Make sense? And then broiler are also some places we call fryers, yeah. So chicken of either sex that is used for meat purpose. The keyword is not just meat purpose, but either sex, because in general people consider male. But if typically called male, does it make wrong message? Not really. Why? Because in commercial setting, commercial farming, not in a small farming here, typically males are only raised for broiler production. The reason is because the growth curve of male and females are different. And as it is raised for meat purpose, you want to make bigger and bigger sooner and sooner, right? So they will be selecting on day one only males. Or actually nowadays even it's in the egg, but it's a different story. I don't want to confuse here. So primarily in the day one, they will be sexing and mostly producing males only for, well, so typically we call male. Okay. Now, what is chicken then? No need to mention, no need to explain, but I want to explain for some reason. So literally it's nothing new actually. Chicken is one of the oldest domesticated animals. One of the oldest, not the oldest one. And of course it comes from wild jungle fowl, and nobody else know more than Kauaian that what is wild jungle fowl, right? Involved anywhere, anybody's car can come, yeah? On your car hood or when you are sitting anywhere, they can come and eat your food, yeah? That's only in Kauai. It happens only in Kauai. So it is the original, but you see the question here comes. Other day I was talking for fun, but it's not. The reality is how it came to Hawaii. We have heard the story of that, like, you know, our ancestors brought it right on the voyage, yeah. But there is a strange story. Actually, a few years ago it was published. How the bird crossed the Atlantic, Pacific. There's a paper, you know. The route of that is matching what is in Hawaii, what is found in the Europe. How come? Because we all know that bird do not fly, yeah? Chicken doesn't fly that long, yeah? So I don't want to go there, but I want to show you there are a lot of connection, a lot of history about Hawaiian birds. Sometimes we do not know. It's very, very important. Scientifically also, of course, socially, historically also, yeah? But anyway, so when we come to the modern birds, modern poultry, we have official association that will categorize which one is what bird. Because although the ancestor is wild jungle fowl, we have now so many. And when you see ancestor, as I was showing this slide I made for other places, because for some will be strange. Oh, you can see those chicken there, but here everywhere, right? But this is not limited to this kind of thing. Actually, even in the US only, we have variety of breeds of this chicken. See? Some of these you might have seen, some may not have seen. And these are what we call, even there are actually studies like groups, they call ancestral heritage breed conservation sites. A lot of works, research done to conserve those heritage. But here we have only 2 or 3 groups, and especially only one Asagi hatchery in Hawaii. So whatever they have, we got this, right? And that is because of the demand and supply, yeah? So there are varieties, and it's not exclusively, there are more than this, but in general, some of the common breeds in chicken. But is it something we do in poultry production when you will be doing this commercial? Not really. These are heritage breed now because their productivity is very low. They have their importance because it is ancestral. What we have seen, it has evolved over period. Of course, in left, I took a picture just nearby somewhere here and there. And right, you can see by what we call genetic selection, now it has been modified over years and years and years to make what we call common days, today's layer or broiler. When I use the word genetic selection, I want to make you here clear, not to get any confusion. There is big difference between what we call genetically modified or GMO, you know, common, which is a big debate, good, bad, and especially in Hawaii, you know, in the corn production, GMOs are big issue, right? Absolutely do not get confused with GMO versus genetics. Genetic selection is completely natural process. You are not messing up any genes like in GMO it is done. It is only what is done, selection. So they will be mating with the birds, ancestor, to produce certain trait. And again, picking the other one in next generation, the good one and good one and good one. So they will become better one. Over generation, it takes time. So this is completely natural breeding process. No gene manipulation like in GMOs, okay? So absolutely natural, okay? Nothing to confuse. But now we have seen big evolution over period. So when I say evolution, you see, this is the data I am showing you now. And this comes from University of Alberta, where I was working after my PhD, So here you can see 1957 data. Even we have chicken from earlier, but this data came like 70 years ago, something like that, The day one chicks used to be around 34 grams. But in 2005, this data is up to there only intentionally. I will tell you why. So the day old, as it is coming out of the egg, it is already 44 grams. You can see like 20% bigger, yeah? Then in the 8th week, it used to be around 900 grams. 900 grams is just something like around 2 pounds, okay? In case you are confused with kilogram, gram, I know a lot of people don't use there. 1 kilogram is 2.2 pounds, okay? But by the 8th week in 2005, it used to be over 4 kilo, which is around 10 pounds. Now, if we have continued by this, it's almost 17, 18 years since this data, right? 2005 is 17 years now, yeah? Now this chicken would have become like goat size or ostrich, yeah? That won't be chicken anymore, right? 6, 7 kilo, not good. Because that won't be really chicken. So now we change the strategy of not making bigger and bigger, rather more efficient, fast growing, better. So now actually we do not even wait until 8 weeks, 56 days. In commercial production, we are marketing by 5 to 6 weeks. Globally, marketing trend is 5 to 6 weeks, depending on your market demand. Some people like even relatively smaller, like just like 2 kilo. Some go. So in the 6th week now, actually you are getting almost 3 kilo, just in 6 weeks. Okay. And growth comes faster in later stage, in 5th week, 6th week. So you can imagine how efficient we have. And to show this in graphics, you can see how fast it has been growing over the period, The average daily gain was boom, right? The lowest line is what we call, let me make the pointer. So yeah, so the lowest line is that what we call this 1957 upper one 2005, you can say steep increase. Another important part was it was not just total body mass, but also breast meat conversion. Why? Because in total body mass, you don't eat the feather, the nails, the other part. Although nowadays we eat like even feet and the wings. Wing become hotcake now, yeah? Wing is a special recipe. Up to around 20, 25 year wings were also thrown like legs, you know that? Or the toes, feather. Now we use all the parts. But breast meat, which is the main meat, how much conversion? You can see like per gram to total body grams. So earlier days in 1957, it was very low. And now we can see very fast. So they will be eating 35, then growing this much. Now 10 gram per gram, very efficient. And more breast meat means more good, right? This is the main meat you call in the chicken, yeah? So it has done very well. You can clearly see how we have evolved our period. But the important point comes why chickens are important, why we emphasize on chicken, because chicken is the most affordable and popular meat or protein source. Overall, most affordable, the world is not, all are not blessed to have so much money to eat, but still we need to have protein in our diet, right? Chicken is the cheapest still as of today. Literally in marketplace, if you go for regular chicken, how much? Less than $1 if you buy bulk, right? Per pound, yeah. But beef around 10 still, yeah. Pork maybe 5, 6, I don't know, something like that, yeah. So it is and proved. Another reason is, even it's not about money, some people cannot think of money, then it's about health. Because you must have heard about red meat versus white meat. So beef is considered red meat, chicken is white meat. So it has low saturated fat, lean meat. It is good for even you have to have cardiovascular diseases or other things, still you need protein, then it's good. Also, it has quite a few of vitamins and minerals, which are very important, needed in our body system. And that you get from chicken. Another important aspect of chicken is, unlike other meat, even beef doesn't it absorbs flavor easily. And why that's important? Remember, we are so different. As you can see in the screen, we all differ from each other. That is the beauty of world diversity, right? And so we do our cooking. As you can see, some of these dishes I put right side, typically I picked from different part of the world. And we use so many spices, varieties, or you cook differently, and that you enjoy. But not all meat will absorb that spices or flavors. So you can really enjoy what you want to enjoy. You are not forcefully simply say just eat chicken. And I will give you an example. Other day I did not say. I told you China. And when I go to China, there is one place called Hainan. Hainan is they call Hawaii of China. It's like island, but very close to Korea, not like the far. So almost 100 miles from mainland. It's beautiful place, really beautiful. Same like Hawaii. And there they have very famous.
Go to the phone that he has in his hand.
Hmm?
It's not going to be able to. Oh, you know what? He can bring it.
So they have very famous, they call Hainan chicken. And anytime I go there, my host will be bringing there. Professor, we go for Hainan chicken. And I have to be so courteous and polite to him. I will say with him, yes, please, let's go. I just want to be nice. Very honestly, I never like that. And every time I go and every time, thanks to him, because he's becoming so nice, polite to me, how come I can say no? Because literally is no flavor, nothing, they will serve in whole chicken, looks like, beef will be there, it looks so good, but taste wise, I don't like, because my taste is completely different. That's chicken. Okay. So we've had individual difference, but chicken, other thing is it's easy to feed, relatively cheaper to feed and produce compared to other animal. And that I will show you data later, how it is relatively cheaper or feed conversion ratio. It has big dominant market share that I'll show you with graphics later. And of course, it is accepted widely around the world. What does it mean? Nowadays, not nowadays, always it has been, we respect each other by all means. We must do that also. Some are Christians, some are Hindus, some are Muslims, some are what we call different religion, different faiths. Yeah. If you ask a Muslim, they don't eat pork. And we must respect, right? If you ask Hindu, they don't eat beef. Other than vegetarians or like who doesn't eat any meat item, that's another thing, right? Among non-vegetarian, it's only chicken who everybody eats. Hindu also, Muslim also, Christian also, and all the kind of faiths. Accepted all around. That's only one species. Make sense? That's important part also. So it's just now the important part comes. Why we really care, and very key word is food security, and that is never enough to discuss in Hawaii. And thanks to one of you, I believe Lon was talking, food security, we want to be locally food secure, and Hawaii is unfortunately one of the worst situation in the world. I'm not talking about only in US. For sure in US we are in the worst situation. One of the worst situation in the world. Literally we are so much dependent on other place to eat. What I mean to say, no need to explain, just 2 weeks shipment will stop. What will happen to you? You have to eat your credit card or money you have in your bucket left, yeah? Or Bitcoin nowadays. Julius, you do Bitcoin? No, we need food. We cannot eat money, right? We cannot eat jewelry. We cannot eat, no matter how valuable things are. And that we do not produce enough. But livestock sector globally actually contributes around 40% of total food, in developed countries, and around 20% even in developing countries. Important part, people like earlier I showed you the video, 1.3 billion people are dependent on livestock production. Their livelihood is based on that. They survive because of animal production, And actually around 35%, 34% of global protein supply comes from livestock sector. It has used. Why it matters? Because there will be ever growing demand of food. Think bigger. Now we are in like 2022, we are saying like we have around 7.3, 7.4 billion population, right, in the world. We are expecting by 2050 to have like 9.5, 9.4 billion population. By 2100, it will be 11 plus billion population. And I believe some of you will be still surviving by then. If not me, by 2100. It's not far. We need to feed all those population. But you can think, why do I care? Why I have to worry for whole world rather than feeding my own kids or my own ohana or family maximum, right? Or hardly think of Hawaii if you are so generous, yeah? If you are with that perception, please remove it from your head. And I will give you a very simple example now. And that was never ever so much easy to convince anybody. Earlier it was hard to convince for me, now it's easy. COVID happened in one country anywhere in the world. Is that limited to that country, or are we all suffering? Another COVID strain happened in another country of the world, third strain come in another, what you call mutation, you've heard, right? No need to explain, I don't want to waste my time here, neither your important time I want to waste. So world is such a small now, anything will happen one place, we all will suffer. Now you can say, oh, that was disease, so pathogen came. Well, let me say you another thing then. I remember last year, 2020, it was April or May, I believe, you were running all around to just get some toilet paper. Am I lying or exaggerating? No, neither lying nor I am very confident I'm telling the truth. I was suffering, and I have videos, photos of Costco, like 1,000 people lined up, so many like zigzag making line, yeah, and running like you never saw people fighting for grabbing one toilet paper roll, yeah. Forget about some of the food you got or not. Why? You had money, yeah, still you had money, you had salary, who had that, right? What happened in 2-3 months? Whole world supply chain impacted. Because we are so much interconnected with the world now, the business, what you call production, supply chain, food supply chain, everything, you cannot live all alone. And we only knew when we suffered, you know, other time we never paid attention on that. It was already always there. You know, it was always there, but we only realized. So never ever think that's none of my business. I have enough money, I will be happy. No, your money will not help you, believe me. And we already faced that, okay? And we are still facing as of today, actually, you know, we are facing. So now you see the problem food is why? Because as I mentioned, there will be demand population. But where is that population growth? Primarily in Africa and Asia. But again, the point is why we care for Africa, Asia. I just told you, they are the producer. Primary production also occurs there. Now, if the growth will be there, supply chain will be impacted. You know, even vegetable comes from Mexico here. You might be thinking all come from California. No. You know, quite a few non-perishable, even perishable items comes from China, including onion, garlic, ginger. Forget about non-perishable packed item. Of course, everything is made in China. You read that, right? You don't read on your onion bag made in China, but that is coming from China. So if they will have enough people, they will feed their people, not to you. You will suffer. We will suffer. But if we can manage now, if we can think of all, we will not be suffering. That is the point, okay? Because also, if you think from economic point of view, America is the export-based economy, agriculture, right? We produce quite a few things enough for us, but still we make money by export. You know, it's called trade. You know, you must have heard this trade imbalance thing. Now, another problem sometimes comes, people call we are becoming more and more vegetarian. That's not true. Actually, we are becoming more and more non-vegetarian. Global data I'm talking. Few people are becoming vegetarian or vegan, and then they are making more propaganda, putting on TikTok, putting on YouTube. But who are eating regularly, enjoying the life, never put on that I'm vegetarian. I eat chicken today, I eat lamb today, I eat this or that. But those will be eating one day veggie, they will be making 5 videos, posting on Facebook, Instagram, whatever you name, even I don't know all the names. Yeah. Reality is, you see the graphics, that is growing. So more and more people, growth will be there, and more people will be eating more meat. So what will happen? There will be increased demand. And even on the demand, what will be under pressure? Poultry, what you are doing. Why? I told you why. Poultry is the preferred meat. Of course, others demands also increasing, you can see, but poultry will have the highest growth. So that is the reason. Another big driver for the demand of this animal products overall is what we call urbanization. Means, especially in developed country or anywhere, when you start making money, you go towards city. Anywhere, even in Hawaii, you must have heard recent data, actually, I just read a few weeks ago, Hawaii's net loss is around 3% population, around 2 point something I saw. Especially, do you know who are leaving us? Young working class people. I'm not saying others are not working, but what we call typical a work group, 25 to 35 or 40 age group. You can see the data, you know, Hawaii data. I'm not talking randomly. I have the proof, and that is natural anywhere, because that is global trend. You see this photo, and this is not Photoshop. Believe me, I took from website. Actually, there is copyright, as you can see. This is although it was on a special occasion, but I'm using as a what we call analogy. That is worldwide happening. Cities population are increasing, rural population is decreasing. What will happen? As you go city, you'll be eating more, you'll be making more money. Why are you going to city? To make better life, make more money. And when you'll have more money, you will be eating more meat. See, I'm giving data. So higher meat and egg demand is driven by higher income, which you are going through city, going through job. And this graphic tells you all about the world. Wherever is gross income higher, what we call per capita income higher, they are eating more and more meat. You can see United States over 120 kilogram per person per year. Unfortunately, Niger people are taking just around 10-12 kilo per year. In 365 days, they are taking hardly 10-12 kilo. Why? Because they cannot afford, it's expensive. Also, they put on the staple foods. So now as our economy is going, which I told you, economy is booming in India and China, and also part of the South Africa. And there is the population growth, there is the money, so there will be higher demand. So that is opportunity. If you don't grow here, we will be in trouble. That's another reason. So you see, where is the demand? Developing countries, especially. In developed countries, kind of saturated. Neither population growth is, of course, it's increasing, but not much. So we have to meet the demand from the poultry sector. Okay. Now you see, earlier I was talking about the consumption of meat has increased. See which has increased. It is data coming from something 1962. Although this graphics stops in 2013, but trend has gone up, which I will show in next graphics. For some reason I've separated here. So global meat consumption, you see, 1961. If you see, poultry used to be just around 4 kilogram per person. Now average. If you see the proportion, then it used to be beef much higher than poultry. Now only it's the poultry which is growing more and more and more. Also pork also grew, but not as much poultry. But what you see per capita consumption in US, that was global. Now you can see in the 1970s, actually per person in US used to eat around 40 kilogram. 40 means 100 pound almost of meat, beef. Now they are using just around 23-24 kilo, almost half. Poultry, they used to be around 20 kilo then, half of the beef. Now they are using around 80, 70 plus. You see, you can see clearly graphics, right? Even in US, that is the same trend, actually more. Why? Because I told you the reasons why people are interested. Now then, let's look. Global meat production. It's not consumption. There is difference between production and consumption. You know that, right? Not all. And that is almost very. You can clearly see 1960 we used to produce so little. It's like a million ton, you know. Just around like 5 million ton was produced in just, it's like 70 years, not historically, prehistoric time I'm talking. It's in our lifetime. Some of we are already born, I believe. You know, some of us, I don't know. At least it's like just our parents' time, right? It's not very historic. And now we are way too up. But if you see other meats are not. And if you are confused with this, I have this graphic to show you even better. See. 1950, chicken and mutton used to be almost same quantity, very little, just 5 million ton in the world, altogether in whole world, just 5 million. Then used to be around 20 million ton of the pork, and same used to be of this beef. Now, actually, beef is just around 60 million ton, and poultry has gone around 140 million ton. And that is the recent data I pulled from the FAO, you know, Food and Agriculture Organization, which is global organization for food, United Nations. Authentic data we call official data. Very recent one I pulled out. And in 2018, actually, poultry surpassed all. Even earlier, pork was growing fast, but that pattern changed from around 2010. You can see pork is becoming kind of stagnant. It is still there, it's pretty good, but poultry is still going up and up and up. And if you ask me, for me, all are same because I'm animal scientist. I'm talking to you about poultry doesn't mean I only know poultry. I talk all animal science. But what I see as an animal scientist, broadly trend, you know, poultry will be still increasing and increasing the same way. As you see the graphics, I feel the same way it will be going on. And reason is very, very clear. Okay. Now, if you see by region, naturally, which is leisure, Asia, region, money, population, you know. In Asia, especially China and India, two are what we call growing economy. And only these two countries makes 1/3 of the population of the whole world. You know, whole world, one place, 1/3 pie of the total population only in two countries, India and China, around 3 billion, you know, 2.7 billion or something like that out of 7.3 billion population. More than 1/3 actually now is only India and China. And their economy is the fastest growing economy in the world now, right? So you can imagine where is that. And that is further clear here, you see. Meat production is not only consumption. If you see in production, until 1990, United States was the leader producing. Until actually it came around 2000, we are still almost same. But growth, you can see how big difference. In 1961, literally China was producing nothing. China was, a very closed country economically, very almost nothing. Now it has gone double of the United States production total. But I'm talking about total gross production, okay? But also you have to realize China has a population of 1.3 billion, but US is only just 300 million, okay? So we're not talking about per capita. Per capita is still they are far low, okay? Per capita we are much ahead. But bottom line here is, in the beginning I told you, we want to be a little bigger thinker, whole world's population. Then only you can be competitive or you can make money. It's about enterprise. Anywhere supply chain impact will impact your production value, your market price. It can go up or it can go down, okay? Now, considering these all things comes, I was talking a lot about quantity, why poultry is important, why. But the also important point comes, do we simply keep looking only for quantity, total volume, total consumption, total money? That's for sure important until we have food. If your dinner plate is empty, you cannot think of anything else. But once you have something in your dinner plate, we must also think of sustainability. And sustainability is something, I definitely, I was talking same word earlier also. In Hawaii, one word is very nice, which I love about Hawaii, thinking of our ancestors, not everywhere. Of course, everybody is grateful to their ancestors, but Hawaiian culture is such a great, I think, that way. And unfortunately, from where I come, it's also ethnic group in Nepal. Also, we see in the same way. So like we consider our ancestor as the god, sky, nature, what we call it, sky, water, earth, what we treat here Hawaii also as a supreme. So sustainability is very, very critical because we inherited the earth, the land, the water, sky from our ancestor. Then we must give better to our generation to come. Otherwise, you will die. We will die on debt. We inherited something, we didn't left anything. You don't want to die with debt, okay? Simply think of simple language nowadays. If you have taken credit from somebody, $100,000, something like that, and die, what will be feelings? We don't feel like, right? That's not good. You don't feel peace when you die. That was in money, small thing. I'm talking about even the whole universe you inherited from our ancestor. You are not giving anything, leaving anything good to our kids or generation to come. That is critical. So we must make sure anytime we are doing anything, business or something, it is sustainable. But whenever we think of sustainable, quite a few times we simply think of environment, nature, global warming. That's not all about that. Definitely it is important, but sustainability need to be considered in a little broader sense. It's not I'm talking, it has been well established, but in general, still people think sustainability means environmental sustainability, I will call only one. But there are three sustainability pillars, what we call. For sustainable development, you must consider sustainable economic growth, sustainable environmental protection. And one important thing is social progress. That is often overlooked. What does it mean? If 4 of the society people will be growing so well and 2 of your neighbors are left behind, that's not sustainable development. You might be very rich and you just see next person sitting beside you hungry, you will not feel good. If you have still at least even little humanity left with you, we want to bring all together. We don't want to be having anybody left behind as much as possible. So it has to, so anything we do must contribute to some extent in societal progress. I'm not saying you just go and donate all of your property to anybody. That's not going to solve problem either, because even you are billionaire, that's not enough to solve the problem of 10 people or 100 people, right? Otherwise, Bill Gates could have solved all the problem of the world, yeah? Or whoever other Warren Buffett like philanthropists. No, that is not solid. But at the same time, you should do something that will also contribute to the societal progress, not only for yourself. Then that is. But when we are thinking this, literally later we thought, oh, that's not going to happen. Why? Because there is another key player which we are missing in this matrix, and that was governance. Governance means whoever is ruling us. Let's say in the local estate, you can say our county administrators or county, like our city councillor or our governor or whatever you write, different, or our legislatures, our representatives. Why it's important? We are working hard at our farm. Why do we care for them? No matter what political ideology you have, you might have one left or right, doesn't matter. The important thing is whatever policy will they make will impact all of us. It's important to educate them, or they must be educated. They must be making right decision policy. Why? For example, think they will make a policy which had happened in Hawaii. I don't want to be political. I don't want, because that's none of my business. I don't care even. But what happens sometimes, so much fertile land have been sold to builders, right? Literally, personally, nobody took anything. It was just policy thing that let's make. That's also important. I'm not saying that is not important. But what happened then? Agricultural land diminished. Some person are simply keeping thousands of acres of land fallow, but other farmer, even you want to farm, even you want to lease, you want to pay money, you don't have space, and nobody else know more than me, more than you people, than anybody else can tell the truth, right? Some of our farmer, I know, I go and talk to farmers. They say, oh, I want to do farming, but I'm not finding place even to lease out. But also, you know, even on Oahu, even on other island, there are thousands of acre land simply fallow lying there for years, right? Again, nothing political I'm talking. What I mean to say, so one policy they can make, government can make, can influence a lot in this. So if unless government's commitment comes on it, this sustainability, we cannot do anything. I mean, we can do something, but not worth. This is why, you know, all the states are now making commitments. You must have seen recently, you know, COPA meeting was in the UK, right? A few months ago. Now all the government leaders, definitely our US president also participated, and he committed on that we will be contributing toward the sustainable development goal, you know. So we have to consider that as well. So literally what we call sustainability means not meeting the need of current generation hour, but without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs. You know, if we can simply grow, harvest, eat, enjoy our life and done, we go and everything finished, that's not sustainable. When the next generation will come, they should be also able to meet their own need on their own without compromising. But then it is only sustainable. And as I mentioned, there are 4 dimensions of sustainable system. We must consider environmental integrity without compromising the environment. That is very, very critical, which is very important. Social well-being, you know, we must drive all together. We take part of all what we call left behind people or disadvantaged group or unprivileged group, whatever you name it, you know. If they have not got opportunity, we should bring them back in the mainstream. Then only we can move forward. They will not be pro. Sometimes, you know, I don't want to make political statement, but this kind of things, you know, sometimes we see, oh, somebody is homeless or somebody is doing crime nearby. Okay. I'm not going to protect here all criminals. I'm not saying that way, but I have, you know, some people has done a small crime sometimes. But what I will think first thing, why he or she did that crime. Somebody, you see, oh, he or she stole my one chicken. There may be 2 reasons. One may be because by nature, he or she is bad guy. That's also possible sometimes. But there is another also reason. Did you thought why he became thief at first point? What made him or her become thief rather than working and making on? Have you ever thought? Because he or she did not get right education, yeah? Why he or she did not get right education? Because her parents could not afford to send to school or manage to live, yeah? Or the family situation was so dire that they were struggling so many, you know? So this is what we have to look from the root of that. Again, saying that, I'm not saying like we should simply see any criminal, just go and say that you are like, because you were suffering, so you became criminal. No, that's not. It's like important to look the reason. What is reason? That's why I say I use the word why. Output is criminal, or output is not working there or sick there. But why is more important to me always. Anytime I think in my decision-making thing, I think more on why than what and how. Why, what and how are simple thing. Anybody can do. But why is very, very important to internalize, you know. So overall, once you meet this whole criteria, then only you can see your system can be sustainable. Now, I'm going to give you some of the example quickly, how poultry production is sustainable. Here you see. Now, if you are growing protein product, as I talk, animal protein sources are best than plant protein sources. But among the animal protein products, basically, actually, poultry uses the least land, one of the least land, you know, to produce only. So basically what we call to produce so much gram of protein per gram, what meter square of land you need. Poultry production need only 0.08 meter square to produce per gram of protein. But in beef, you need 1 meter square. I don't know how many, 100 times, I guess, yeah, 100 times more. for sure. But at the same time, I'm not advocating beef is useless, no. But also, as I say, I'm talking because, but beef also utilize the grasses, which we are not going to eat, yeah. Even those fallow land ranches, we will not be eating those grasses and surviving. At least they are eating the grass and converting to protein. That's important again, okay? But here, from poultry point of view, sustainability is definitely good. Another thing you see, how much feed is required to produce 1 kilo of meat or product. So if you want to produce 1 kilo beef, you need around 25 kilo feed overall. If you want to produce poultry, chicken, 1 kilo, you need literally around 3.3 kilo. And that is not in gross. Actually, now it has become more efficient. That is about net meat I'm talking, not about like total live body weight. Live body weight wise, what we call nowadays, around 1.7. In my research, even here, I do regularly chicken works here. So you feed, like they will be eating around 1.7 kilo feed, they will become 1 kilo of chicken, but that is live. Around 3.3 is fresh meat, very efficient. And as you will be efficient, definitely it will be more sustainable. Now, another important point nowadays, all of us talk about emissions, greenhouse gases, carbon emission, global warming. I think all of us know and we worry, which we must do. So if you see from who are producing how much, literally grass eating animals, we call ruminant, cattle, buffalo, sheep, goat, they are not that efficient or they produce a lot of gases. Relatively, actually, what we call among all the global anthropogenic human created gases, around 15% comes from livestock sector, around 15, not all, 1/6 of total. Other sector produce more, but we are blamed sometimes. Of that, actually, you can see mostly comes from this grazing animals, cattle, buffaloes. Chicken produce relatively very little gas. You can see, even from environmental sustainability point of view, chicken is much efficient. We are not harming the environment, like not producing greenhouse gases. Okay, so this clearly shows that it is very efficient. Now, another important thing is food security issue global. Actually, what I call China. Actually, this data I pulled out last year, I believe. Yeah, you can see up to 2020 data here. Last year, a few months ago, actually, I was making another talk. China is already net importer of soybean, corn, and meat. What does it mean to us? Why should I care whether China is importer or exporter? You have to. Why? Because China is the biggest meat producer. I showed you the graphics, right? Now, to meet that, they have to feed their animal. And they literally will be soaking all the corn and soybean from all over the world. And very economic, simple rule is demand and supply. When there is higher demand, lower supply, higher the price, right? We don't need to, although I'm an animal scientist, I know the economics basics, right? We all know that. So as they will be grabbing all the opportunity, what will happen? You will be also suffering, the feed price will go up. Because production is limited in the world, right? Corns, and that corn, soybean, why it is being talked? Because those are still the #1 feed ingredient, primary top 2 ingredient in our animal feeding system, right? Especially for pig and poultry, right? So as there will be higher demand, it will impact all over the world. Because in Hawaii, we do not produce feed, right? We buy it from mainland or other source, right? Suppliers, yeah? So it will drive the price like nuts, we all will be suffering. What will happen in China? So if I have to summarize this all, what I'll say, global population is exponentially increasing. Expect anywhere 11.2 billion by 2100, not far, like less than 80 years now, one generation, next generation. People, and our lifetime will be actually around 9.5. I believe most of us will be by 2050. Hopefully, I wish for that, all of you. Okay. And we need to eat. As long as we are here, we have to eat. We will not be eating money. We will not be eating credit card or Bitcoin or jewelry, okay? So we have to get ready to feed the world. The problem is, unless you improve the nutritional status of your animals, you feed your animals properly, you manage your animals properly, you cannot make product, and then there will be not reliable supply of protein or quality food for people. That is the key. As I mentioned earlier, around 40% of the quality food for human all over the world comes from livestock sector we are talking. And the key point is, are you ready for that? Are you prepared for that? You know, means we need to know the tools, techniques, skills, how to grow animal, how to raise animal, how to make money, and how to make more food. So this is very, very important. I am very hopeful this Mālama Kaua's this training program will equip you all with the knowledge and skills and all the tools to produce. You can think it will be just drop in the ocean, right? Your 500 chicken, 200 chicken will be just drop in the ocean when I'm talking about like 180 million ton in the world, yeah? But never underestimate the power of that drop. Imagine if you can at least produce 20% food supply for Kauai yourself. That will have a big impact in import substitution. You know, I'm not talking that you will be able to be self-sufficient on Kauai by producing itself. Maybe also it's not impossible. But even you reduce that import by 10%, you are contributing significantly. So never ever think that it is very small contribution. Even any small is big, okay? So literally, basically, sustainability is critical issue, as I mentioned, because we need to have sustainability. We have to have attractive industry. And for that, we have to have increase the efficiency of feed stuff, decrease nutrient excretion, okay? I believe I make the case, understand why you really need to do poultry, why you have to do the poultry. So now I will go toward one of the topic by understanding, you see, sustainable poultry production need to be done all over the world. What do you see in this? You see chicken, yeah, but I see the world. Sustainable poultry production must be done all over the world, including in Hawaii, okay? It is world, okay? Not chicken, or chicken must be in the world. Now, so I'll be talking quickly about, but I think enough information, major part of the chicken, what we call anatomy, you are said. But I know what is more important for you to understand at this point and how much we need to know. So I will not go in very depth. I have a lot of information, but major points I'll talk. So here, literally chickens, body parts. Whenever you say anatomy, anatomy means how it looks like, structure, right? And actually it comes from, I use the word to make you, Greek word actually is called to cut up. Anatomy, Greek word is called cut up, where it came. That was when you cut how it looks like. So you can see the sections, so different part of the body. And I'll be talking both internal and external. Only those are which are quite common and importance to you to understand at this level, not in very depth, which will make overwhelm. But important point is how the chickens or birds are different compared to mammals. And mammals can be anything. Here I put pig versus poultry. The biggest difference is when you see in mammals, parent, especially mom, direct influence goes on the offspring, right? However, in the birds, it ends when it lays the eggs. And then the eggs grows the chicken. See, one more step in between, right? In the mammals, it is directly from mom to baby. But here is mom, hen is your mom. If you say laying hen, then there is egg, and then egg is to chicken. And other differences, of course, you know, feather. Birds has feather. Bird doesn't have teeth or lip, yeah. And it lays eggs, which develops another like 21 days for chicken, yeah, for example. Other birds has differences like other poultry. Another thing is can float and fly. Of course, not long flight, small flights you see, but in general, but our chicken, but again, that was the big question. How did it cross the Atlantic Ocean? Who has the answer for that? How the bird crossed the Atlantic Ocean? Chicken bird, you know. Although we know, like there are some birds, what we call migratory birds, they can fly up to 1,000 miles. And especially they do when from this like a cold season, they will be flying from the, you know, Siberian cold zone to the goes to tropics countries, different countries goes, including actually, we used to be amazed when I was children, when I was back home, we used to call like, you know, tourist bird. They will come in the season winter and they will go as it will start warming up in our zone, they disappear. Because now it is really, like appropriate season for them back to Siberia. We used to call Russia then, you know, nowadays that used to be like near that part, right? Anyway, so birds can fly. And of course, one important difference here is for you to understand, waste excreted from only one orifice. That's very important. The reason I'll tell you later. So if you see in mammals, like pig or cow, or like even human, like feces and urine come from two different openings, right? But in birds, all basically at the end up at one and come together. That's very major differences. Now let's talk. When we use the words in anatomy, we use direction wise, we use the 4 words. We call dorsal, ventral, cranial, caudal. So upper part is dorsal, lower part ventral. Toward the face is called cranial, toward the cloaca is called caudal. When I came in Hawaii, then I was talking about north, south, east, west. Somebody's house will be NWES written. Yeah, I get confused sometimes when I go around. Still, I have problem. Then one of my senior colleagues here said, "Oh, Dr. Jha, don't worry. We don't call north, south, east, west. We call Mālama Kaua. Diamond head. What do you call that? Iwabit's wing." I said, "Oh, that's the way. That's easy to understand. Mālama Kaua, diamond head, Iwabi. No northeast, southwest. In the bird, we use these portals. Okay. So in the birds, there are different systems. I will not be explaining all, few of those important I will be talking. So as you can see, it is real photos. Some of the photos I have taken from different sources with due respect to those who have, some are from our own lab also. So now skin, of course, and plumage and wattle comb. 2 important things are wattle and comb, which I will show in the next. And that very important thing of this comb is, actually, I was talking other day also, indication of the testosterone level. So comb is only found in the male bird, what you call rooster, right? So as it will be fully matured, sexually matured for mating, then it will be bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay. Now here you see wattle and comb. Those are indication. You might have noted also, right? Only in rooster that big. Yeah. Others are the feathers. Of course, the plumage is like the feathers, what we call plumage, and then beaks, scales and nails. Scales, we don't have human scales. Principally we have, but very not notable. And nails, yes, of course, you have a different structure. Then I will skip. Then another important is beak versus lips and teeth. In human, we have like lip and teeth, or other animals also, but in the birds, we have beak. And beak is typically primarily used for eating and drinking. It's not limited there. Bird's beak has been evolved also for protection, self-defense. Have you ever experienced that actually? Sometime if you make birds angry, they will come. Julius, it hit you sometime, you know. It is if they feel psychologically under what you call threat, they will use it as a defense tool. But primarily it's for like eating and drinking, collecting the fish. And why they have to collect that I will talk later in the next part when I come. Then respiratory system is basically same like us primarily, and objective is intake of oxygen, releasing the carbon dioxide, and managing the body temperature. That's the main thing. And of course used for vocalization. Sound, as you can see, sometimes rooster sound big, I was hearing earlier also, right? So that is because of the respiratory larynx, we call vocal cord, same like us they have. Here is the graphics of that basically. And here one important thing you can see, if you can see, I have marked here air sac membrane, air sac cavity. So main difference between mammals and bird is one here also. So I want to differentiate. That is, in our human or in pig or cattle, we have kind of compartments separated in between heart and belly, what we call thoracic compartment and abdominal compartment. Belly compartment in between is called membrane called diaphragm. And if you breathe, you feel like your big bow, you can feel that. That is not in the birds. And rather than that, they have air sacs. So they can make air, as the name says, sac. Sac means bag, right? And literally, I was talking other day also, this is the basically concept came in our car with airbag. It will flatten when pressure is there and will protect you from accident, right? But principally, this air sacs protects them also, and also it is used for flying. This is the reason they can fly. Airbag, air sac helps them in flying purposes, okay? Another reason. Now, most important system I want to talk is digestive system, because it is directly relevant to you and important to understand. So here it is you can see scheme of the digestive system, whole body. I will go quickly over that, then one after another I will go one part, every part. So tongue, there is the beak, which talk. Then another is pharynx. So pharynx is like our vocal cord, same like us, we all have. This is where the sound is produced, and that's why rooster can produce. And then here is called crop. And crop is like bag, sac. And I will show you basically this is the place where we'll be storing the feed. When they will be picking the feed from the tip, there is no mouth for chewing, yeah, like a space in the mouth. So they will simply picking and just dropping back and putting here. It's like holding yard. Okay. Then this is what we call stomach in our body. kind of resembling to stomach. This two part is called proventriculus, ventriculus. So this one is glandular, like where it's some enzymes to help digestion secreted. And this is kind of grinder. I will explain it a little more later. And then this small intestine, same like us human or pig start. And this small intestine there is like called pancreas, which is same like us human. We have heard the pancreas, right? And pancreas is very important for what? Anybody knows any idea? What? Of course, other so many functions, but most important function of pancreas, diabetes.
Digesting.
No, digestion, of course, but most important thing in pancreas secretes hormone called insulin, like diabetic patient big issue, yeah, and that is secreted here, which manages our blood sugar level. If our body cannot produce sufficient amount of insulin, the glucose we eat or glucose related, carb related, it cannot be digested, metabolized, so we become like high blood glucose level and what we call diabetes, yeah. This blood sugar we call, yeah, in general. This is the reason. Okay, then it will come, and one important thing here you can see difference is called cecum, or plural is called ceca, individual it's called cecum, and that is in human we have only one, and that's also very non-functional, so very small. But in pig it is developed, horse it is even way too fully developed, where the grass can be digested in the horse, and they have but only one, but pig. But here those are small, but two, like you can see this, like kind of like this, yeah. So, and that is the end point where you see this, where it meets. It's called end of the small intestine, and then it comes large intestine. Although we call it large intestine because the name applies to all animals, it is not large. But in cattle, it is really large. That's why the name was given large intestine, but here is a small. But real name also we call colon, which is also in human. You must have heard, especially elderly population, after 50 your doctor might have asked to go for colonoscopy. After 10 years, they will ask every 10 years. Why? Because then we are risk of what we call colon cancer. Risk not happen, but there. So that is the part same like in human, is called colon. And then of course opening air will be cloaca, which is the only one opening for both urine and feces. And I'll talk later. So now I will go part by part in details as much our time. So digestive system starts from beak, as I mentioned. So beak is here, you can see, and then beak, tongue, and taste bud. Birds also have taste bud. Taste bud, they can taste. And now then esophagus, you can see this is the cross section. So when you open it, you can see the tube. So esophagus is the section which extend from mouth to stomach, what we call a stomach modified it, right? It's kind of only tube connecting, right? So this is esophagus. And here ending is the crop, which I told as a holding yard, which I will explain in next as even further. Now you can see elongated that crops further. So this one serves as a food stuff, will be whatever they will consume, that will be hold there and moisten, soften they are getting ready for digestion, but there is no digestion there. Actually, it's getting ready, preparing for digestion, and then you move further. Now, if you open that, you can clearly see it will be like this, full loaded. Actually, sometimes if you see your birds like hanging like this, do not worry. It means it is fully eaten. It has eaten enough and it is in the process of digestion. So that's nothing wrong if it is hanging. That's a good indication your birds are eating, okay? And it is like, you see, cranial part is frontal toward the head, Now, then once you go down, the next one is called proventriculus. This section, which you earlier saw, that is called kind of main stomach like us. Although it is very small there, but function is more or less same as in our body. They secrete some enzymes, some chemicals, which will help in digestion of the feed stuff they consume. Now then further down it goes what we call gizzard, which I call earlier. So this is your proventriculus. Now further down is the gizzard, and that is called grinder. And I'll show you next slide. So this literally is really as your grinder means what? Making smaller particle. Like in human or other animal, we have in mouth, in the teeth, we eat and chew, make it small, right? But in birds, we didn't have teeth, we saw, right? So now something need to be doing the same job. This is the part where this bigger particle will be chewed and made a smaller part. And sometime you will see the stones and grits there stored also. When they will consume, that will stop filter there, and that will be excreted. So that is another checkpoint. Now, if you open it, same part you can clearly see. So this is proventriculus and this is the gizzard, or what we call grinder. Now you open it, you can see these feed particles, undigested, partly digested. But if you clean up this, it looks like this. That's why you can see how they grind it. You can see like liver, right? So when there will be motility around, it seems like your blender at home, yeah? You have blades different way and you are around. Of course, when you are running electrical, it is fast, yeah? But this does in a slow pace, same like in our body mobility, right? So it motile and helps in grinding process. And it is also further digested there. Beyond that, then it is called small intestine, as I mentioned. So basically, if you see in this image, basically, so this was your proventriculus, this is your gizzard. Now this is the long part until up to the point where is this 3, you see, it's called a small intestine. And that has broadly 3 sections. So first loop, what we call duodenal loop, where the pancreas is nested. This is the pancreas in between. This is always a loop, you know, a little bit like attached with the pancreas. This is called duodenal loop. So some of the digestion takes place there. Insulin will be secreted here and digestion start. And rest of all the nutrients are digested. Digestion completes in a small intestine. So some protein part digests in upper, like proventriculars, these are, but mostly will be digested here in the small intestine. And then also the digested food stuff will be absorbed in the blood, so that can now transform to production like meat, growing tissues, or egg producing animal, whatever, right? Then after two parts, this the triangular section I was showing is called ceca, or individually called cecum, plural is ceca, okay, cecum to ceca. And that is literally not much functional, but a small fermentation takes place. I brought a new term called fermentation. So fermentation is basically like brewing. Same like, for example, you know, beer are made from the oat or rice, you know, different products basically. Same principle happens. So when there is any product which is not digested up or fibrous product, that will be fermented. But in the poultry, it is very limited, very less. But in animals like cattle, the pig, it is much. Horse, way too much. Even in human, we have a small quantity of that function. Okay. Important thing is another is like water should be absorbed also there. Then the lower part is called colon, which is part of large intestine. As I say, although it's large intestine name, but it's not really large. But the real name is actually colon. Small intestine, large intestine is called based on the length of the section in the cattle. But within that, we also saw in the small intestine, also we have name, duodenum, jejunum, ileum, technical name. And then in the large intestine, we have colon, okay? And then from there, actually, there is no nutrient digestion, no absorption in the large intestine, only absorption of water. So most of the water will be retained in the body back, recirculation, recycling happens in natural even, you see. That's another thing we can learn from nature. We should recycle, we should not waste. So reabsorb water back and then used in the body system, and rest will be excreted via cloaca. Or cloaca, or also we call vent, right? So literally, if you see in the left image, the right is like a section, but front side, literally, real image, you can see there is opening, upper openings, point meets from the lower opening from the urinary tract, and that will be same place where it is coming both feces and urine. That's why you cannot separate feces and urine in the birds, unlike in the cattle or swine, you see separate, right? Or goat, or all species. But actually, you can clearly see those are like the feces, you see the white particles type, right? Always, if you have paid attention closely, always in the feces, which is natural feces, but then will be always white kind of chalk, yeah? Actually, those parts are primarily from urine, nitrogenous part, you know? Now, so these are the major digestive systems part, but another 3 important parts are there. So if you saw in the GI tract, what we call accessory organs, helping organs, and those are very, very important. Although those are not from the mouth to anus as a part of rectum or cloaca, you can call in bird. That is like whole system, like tubes from top to bottom. But these are attached side, and that has very critical role, very important role in digestion and all other functions also. And most important thing, organ 1 in digestive system accessories, liver. Liver is not limited to digestive function only, but so many other, but in digestion also important. First thing first, liver produces what we call bile, which is required for fat digestion. Anything you need, oily, fatty things you eat that need digestion, that is secreted by. Another important thing is called detoxification. As the name suggests, no matter how natural what thing you eat, always there are some compound in our food or animals' food that is relatively harmful to body. It's not toxic, it's not killing, but there are by nature, natural there are. And thanks to natural system, you can say body system, it was created organ liver that will detoxify it, so it will not hamper our body system. And also liver stores when you have extra fat or the fat soluble vitamins, and that can be used for later. And then it helps in metabolization. So once those nutrients from carb, protein, lipids were absorbed, that will help in metabolization and utilized for our body purpose. Another important function is pancreas organ, SST organ, which I was talking earlier. You see the loop, small intestinal loop. This is your gizzard, grinder, and here is your liver. So this loop is always like this, and this is attached, kind of glued with the pancreas. So pancreas serve as a glue also, you can see. It's kind of leaf-like. Literally, if you gently clear it, dissect it, you feel like it looks like kind of leaf. And that pancreas is very important, especially for carbohydrate digestion. And as I was talking earlier, actually, this is the critical thing in case of diabetic people. So two types of diabetes, diabetes 1, diabetes 2, right? Diabetes type 1, type 2. So, but insulin is secreted from this pancreas. And insulin is important, required to utilize the carbohydrate. Otherwise, it will not be absorbed from our blood to our body. So the blood glucose level goes up, and what we call diabetes, right? This is very, very important, pancreas issue. Although there is another reason for that. So, but in general, I talked related to this here one. With this, now another important thing, circulatory system. I will not go in very details, but what I want to say, circulatory system is important, of course, which supplies the blood in our body system. It's more or less same function like our human or other animals. So it will transport the oxygen. So like what we inhale, oxygen, that will be going through the blood, goes in the heart, it will pump throughout the body. So clean, oxygenated in the lungs will be brought to all part of our body. This is how we are alive, yeah? Without oxygen, we cannot survive, yeah? But oxygen is not needed in our nose. Oxygen is needed in our blood and tissues, right? We take it from nostril, and that is the main function, as you can see. And also, it will collect from different part back to heart. In case you have paid attention, let's do, if you just pressure, like I can show you, you will see clearly kind of blue here, right? Or if you go to doctor, if they want to collect blood for any test, they will be like patting like this, yeah, and then push, and they can see elevated line, yeah. Typically, you see bluish there. What is that? That is not artery, that is vein. So there are two types. One goes from heart toward the body, and everywhere is parallel, same like our highway, one going west, one going east. So every line, always there are two lines. The upper line is the bluish one, which is impure blood bringing, so tissues utilized, and the waste, think like supply you got from grocery, and the waste has to go to landfill. So the tissues utilize the oxygen and now leave the carbon dioxide, and that's why, because of carbon dioxide, that looks like bluish, and that will go back to the lungs, and now that being to the like a heart and then lungs, then excreted, the carbon dioxide will excrete. It came from all tissues, everywhere in the body, they collect it like garbage collector, So this is how the circulatory system work in short, okay? And then, of course, here you can see the cross section of the same thing, what I was talking earlier. So literally it is embedded, nested, beside the liver. You see, earlier I was talking about the liver. So here's the liver in between is heart, and this is what we call breast muscle, right? You see the main part, right? This is what you all know, yeah. It is protected very well. Important thing in nature, because it's very fragile, very sensitive. So it is protected with some fat. You can see even under the breast meat, there is fatty substance always to protect the liver. Also within liver also always, over the heart also there is some sort of fatty material, as you can see in the graphic here, image, because that is to protect, to cushion it, even from the shock of its own body also, not like external heart, very, very protected. And one thing important, as I was showing in the graphics earlier, actually, it has like hearts has 4 compartments. It's the same like the mammals, like human. Okay. Now, heartbeat typically, actually, human heartbeat, how much? 60 to 100. Like when you are running, of course, it goes faster. Yeah. When you are normal sitting, doing nothing, slower, around 60 to 100 we call. If you run very fast, of course, can be more faster, try to body. And that is the point when you exceed it. Horses is very low, 30, 40. Cow is in between. Any idea about chicken? Anyone? Can you say what you're talking, Annie?
My bet is that it goes really fast, but I don't know. They seem like
Very fast is not giving me any clue. Anybody else try to go that what that very means here? Thank you, Annie. I got what you mean, but I want to be a little more close to what is that very. Anybody try, please. It's nothing harm, no penalty for the wrong answer, okay?
120?
Kind of, not
100?
yet there. Okay, anybody else, please try. Actually, it's way, way too high, 250 to 300.
Whoa.
And that is the reason, I'm not sure you have heard that or not. Some people will be called chicken hearted. If it is so, anything happens, even a small thing, you became so scared or something.
Yeah.
And you like make a kind of, are you chicken hearted, man? That's what comes from here.
Wow.
Yes, it is not like for fun. It's really scientific. Sometimes we ignore some of the nature in our real life. Those things comes very natural. This is really coming chicken hearted. We call somebody like so scary, so kind of coward. I don't want to use the word coward, but like anything, a small thing you'll see and get scared, jump. But if you just open the door, people will jump, I've seen if you open door, somebody's passing by unnoticed, they will jump, like feel like getting shocked. That's chicken hearted people we call. This is the reason. It's very, very high. Anyway, so this is how broadly I cover this up to circulatory system, a major part. Of course, there are then reproduction system other, which I believe at your interest at this level probably not that much needed, but I'll be happy if you will be interested sometime to discuss that if we get opportunity. And also other thing I did not cover because of the time, and I try to give little broader picture as I promised earlier. With this, I will stop formal discussion, but we can have question, answer, anything. I will be more than happy to discuss that. Thank you. I will stop this slide presentation here, but we'll talk anything you have question.
I have a question about how chickens, the hens, they're excitable if they're surprised, if you walk into their house and they're all excited, they kind of freak out. And I'm just curious if it even takes their heartbeat even higher than it's normal. Yes. And how high does it get? And I'm assuming it affects their health and production as well.
It is actually very good point you raised, and I was going to tell that. And that comes as a part of what we call nowadays behavior and welfare. That is very critical and important. And before I go on discussion, I want to tell you my own experience and a real experience. It's not a story. So I told you I was Netherlands for my master's. Yeah, I came from Nepal. Nepal is a developing country, and I was veterinarian. I was well trained, but market price to us was chicken means chicken, egg means egg. Then it was just flat. When I went to Netherlands, we used to go in nearby store. For example, you can say like our Walmart, Target, and kind of thing. So of course I was grad student. Graduation means you know the meaning of graduation? Surviving the life. Yeah. So we will always looking for the cheap food. Yeah. On the record I'm talking. I know Annie is recording this. Hopefully you will not display this whole world that I was. That is reality of graduation life. We wanted to learn with very limited resource. Main message I'm bringing. So those stores sometimes will say, like, for example, I forgot used to be something like €1, €1.10 per dozen egg. Then I forgot that. Let's assume €1. Okay. Some egg that day will all of a sudden it will be like 50 cent euro, 50 cent per dozen bag pack. Nothing wrong in the egg. Another important thing, Netherlands for quality word I can consider only if I have to trust anywhere in quality, 2 countries. Japan, Netherlands, believe me. Of course, doesn't mean I'm saying other places are no quality. There are, but blindly you can trust any quality. Netherlands, you cannot see anything in the store which is rotten, but here you go just a store, I can give you even expired product I have seen in the shelves. And I'm pretty sure it's not only me, you have witnessed that, but Netherlands never ever expect that. So the question here, if it is half price in the Chinatown, it means it must be rotten or something wrong. Yeah, you can assume that and reality will be that. But then we ask, because being a student, and especially I was learning poultry, those kind of things. So learning is not in the classroom only, in the real life, So I talked to the attendant of the what you can say stores, some person who was dealing. So I say, hello, sir, why this price is dropped for the egg all of a sudden? I was assured the quality is nothing wrong, and 50% drop in price. Why? As a curious student of animal science, poultry science. And he replied to me, you know, last night there was a big thunderstorm and that eggs were laid under stress condition. So we have to clear off this egg. I didn't get anything. Believe me, in the beginning, when I was just new in the Netherlands, coming from Nepal, you know, what the heck is the relationship between thunderstorm, egg laying, and half price? Can you relate any information? With due respect of time, I know you all are busy, I will tell you. The reason was actually when there is thunderstorm, actually the birds will be stressed. And when they lay is egg under stress condition, the Netherlands peoples are so sensitive, and not now, then. Do you know when I'm then means when? 2004, 2006, I was there. And this story is somewhere early, like in 2004, because when I was new there. Later, I knew everything about system. Yeah. When I was there, 2004, September, I went, I forget month, but somewhere early stage of my life in Netherlands. So 2004, people were so sensitive in Netherlands, so conscious about animal welfare. So local people will not buy if they, and the rule is there, they cannot, like seller or like a store cannot simply put adjust in the sale, because you will not know which egg came from where. The rule is, and honesty is there, they will declare it is from a stressed bird. And then who will eat that? People like us, or even Dutch people. Some people, of course, not all are like so much affording. Most of the student, most of the worker, low paid people, you know, who will buy that and feed it. And it's nothing wrong. But so back to your question. So stress condition impacts a lot to your animals, you know. And nowadays, that's why anytime we do any research, anything, we have to follow what we call animal welfare condition. And we do, as an animal scientist, as an animal farmer, as an animal lover, we all respect that. And we should do our best. I'm not talking that part, otherwise I can give a whole lecture on animal welfare. But I want to make it clear here. There's big difference between animal welfare versus animal rights. I'm big advocate of animal welfare. I love animals. That's why I'm here, right? I want you all be big animal lover, big animal welfare advocate. I cannot comment you want to be animal right activist or not. I'm not. I cannot comment more on that. Right is different thing than the welfare. We must maintain, we must protect, we must do our best to maintain the welfare of them, okay? Right is for some reason, intention, what we call activism. I'm not saying wrong or right again, okay? That's totally out of my discussion, especially here. So stress you do not want to give. Even here, when we do research, we open the door so gently that the bird nearby your door will be impacted. So it's kind of like, you know, when your baby is sleeping in your inside and you step inside without making noise, like stepping slowly. That's right. And that is another now chicken-hearted word I used for human, I told you. Now coming back to chicken, why it is called again? When there is thunderstorm, for example, sometime when there is all of a sudden lightning, literally hundreds and thousands of birds can simply die, just because they are so sensitive, so scary. That word even chicken-hearted, not because of the high rate of number, rather than literally sometimes thousands of birds died. Just there was one thunderstorm, all birds dead, nothing. So you want to make sure there is no stress. And if there is a stress, actually, even laying hen, which was in good condition until yesterday, you are getting every day one egg. Today you will not get egg again. It holds. No new egg formation. You know, it's kind of clots. In the egg formation is like continuous process. So literally one will be big, other will be little smaller. So it starts. So that's why if you see eggs laying is a regular process. And after certain it breaks and again it starts. You know, it's called clots. It's like one time, you know. That's why actually if you paid attention earlier in the video in the beginning, 85 to 90 and 80 to 95, that was referring to this, the clots you can improve. But if you give a stress, it will not lay an egg. If it is broiler, it will not grow well. It will not eat well. No matter everything is there. So birds are really, that's why it's called chicken-hearted. It is. And you want any animal you want to protect, but there are some species I'll tell you, doesn't mean we want to go and abuse the animal. Never, we don't want to do that. For example, buffalo. You know, buffalo, actually on the Kauai, there is one farmer who is kind of really dedicated with the buffalo. He contacted me like 8 years ago to help him. I went his farm, I forgot his name. It's a like integrated farm. He's a very nice guy, actually, very nice. Like, but I couldn't help him a lot after he got buffalo. Buffalo is kind of dumb animal, you know. They will not feel if you go on left or right, because I know buffalo, because I was our country, we grow a lot of buffalo. Even I had own buffalo, those are dumb. Even if you go to wild buffalo, what you call bison or arna, different varieties are. Literally, there is one arna variety called actually found in Asia, especially also in Nepal. Wild buffalo. This is so dumb. It is said, actually, it is still well proven. If you blast in front of the wild buffalo, it doesn't notice that there was a blast, bomb blast. Really, I'm talking. So you see, sensitivity level is very different from chicken to animals. Other animals are in between. Cattle is sensitive again. Sheep, cattle and buffalo looks like same, like milk producing, ruminant, grass eating, right? But sensitivity level is very different. Cattle is much more sensitive. Buffalo is not. Even within animals, goat is less sensitive than buffalo. Sorry, cattle. Cattle is more sensitive than goat. But cattle is also really sensitive. Okay, you don't want to abuse that, please. I mean, never you want to abuse any animals, yeah? For sure not, we don't want to do that. But what I mean to say, severity of the, so yes, it is important, it is critical. Stress is a very, very important factor in feed intake, growth, and production. So you want to minimize the stress, and stress is not necessarily always you do intentional, unintentional also. You are coming with your, like something is ringing, blowing, your phone start big ring, all of a sudden that impacts. You never paid attention that your cell phone all of a sudden. Think, as I mentioned, all of a sudden you're passing by, somebody comes in front of you. How do you feel that? Or all of a sudden some noise comes, you get scared, yeah? And birds are, so you do not want to have your phone in your, all of a sudden it will ring big loud. It can impact actually. Even a small thing makes a big difference in chicken. Did I answer it correctly? Thank
Yes.
you. Another question.
I had a question about like feed. I don't know if this is the right session to ask about like
Everything is right session.
what is
Everything you can ask me.
what is appropriate? How do you know like the appropriate amount, and also like what type of feed, and if you can grow your own feed?
Actually, that is the most appropriate question to ask me, because my specialty is feed. Even in animal, if you see, go on my website, you'll see my position is professor of animal nutrition. How to feed, how much to feed, how to make feed. And I have been doing a lot of work in Hawaii. And I'll tell you, this is the toughest question for me when I am the expert of that. And only in Hawaii though. As I cross the Hawaiian border, it is the easiest question for me. Why? First thing, let me part by your answer. First thing, what to feed? Actually, chicken need same like us balanced diet. Balanced diet means different ages of chicken need different level of protein, energy, fat, and so on. Okay, I cannot prescribe details on that, but in general, not only, for example, you don't want to eat only rice today and chicken tomorrow and veggie third day, right? Rather, you eat portion of everything. Why? Because it gives different nutrients. We call 6 nutrients, yeah, broadly: carb, protein, lipid, vitamins, minerals, and water. 6 nutrient class, yeah. All must be in certain proportion. That certain proportion, what I use abstract means younger bird has different need, grower has different need, finisher has different need. In laying birds, hen, younger laying hen different, pule different. Pule means, when you are reaching toward puberty, right? Getting ready for laying hens has different. Laying hen is different, and even laying in hen in the peak stage different than older stage. Same like our human. Baby different, toddler different, teenager different, mature, physically hardworking different, and our elderly population different. Exactly same. I didn't give you exact number. Why? Because that it's beyond the scope of this discussion. Now, another point is what to feed and how can we make Hawaii. Hawaii, unfortunately, we do not have enough even raw materials. And I have tried a lot of things. I analyzed a lot of things. I have generated lots of data. I have capacity to tell you what is good and how to mix it. I have recipe to cook, but I don't have the grocery. I have recipe to how to make that particular good food for you. But for that, you have to go to grocery store, right? But here in Hawaii, we do not grow anything enough. I told you, even for human, 85% imported everything, even vegetable to corn to rice, everything comes from somewhere else. Yeah, same is for animals. So anything we have local feedstuffs can contribute a small quantity to replace partly, but not a lot. Also, even you have a small, we don't have feed mill here. When you have to mix it, you cannot simply bring grocery from the store and you eat grocery as it is, right? You are chopping, you are washing, you are cooking, and cooking differently. Some you are on a pot, some are on microwave, some you are just boiling, some are steam, right? Same thing is animal feed making process. It's not like same like human, but making, not simply buying corn and soybean and just offering is not good. You have to process it, what we call feed making. And unfortunately, we do not have any feed mill. So despite knowing these all things or having all the recipe, we don't have feed here. That's why I say it is difficult question when I'm in Hawaii, but I am a big consultant, I'm big advocate. When I'm somewhere else, I'm expert of that. So I didn't give you a straight answer, but I hope I gave you a concept what I mean. That's the reality, because I don't want to give you a false commitment, you know. I don't like saying false hope. Reality is that. Any other question, anybody, please?
Here's Camille, who says, I want to know the proper ratio of nesting boxes per chickens.
Okay, that depends on what type of farm, what type of setup you have. Okay, rather than I say you proper ratio of nesting boxes, actually, if you paid attention on the video I was showing, first thing, what type of nest, what type of box? That can be based on your situation. That can be based on your farm. All does not have to be same like, you know, ultra modern you buying from the stores or like the suppliers, you know. It can be locally made, it can be fancy also. But how many what, I will leave that to Julius. Why? Because I don't know your farm, I have not seen your farm. That will vary, also depends on your production cycle. If you have just one bird or 10 bird and or you have 100 bird, it will not go same like symmetrical number. It doesn't go like that. In general, yes, there is clear indication for so many bird you want to have one. But again, I tell you one, but which one? What type of box you have? What size of box you have, right? So it has to be kind of tailor-made to fit in your location, okay? Your farm condition, your type of nest, your type of box you are using that. If you are talking about nesting box per chicken ratio, like one farm, even here in US, we have like one farm having millions bird. Can you imagine? Also, I know farmer over here, we have only just 2 birds in backyard. Which size we are talking, I don't know, right? And even, well, say 25, actually, are you talking about layers?
Yeah.
Okay. So again, the which size of nest you are talking? Basically, 2 should be, because you can imagine there will be how many egg layers. Yeah, literally how many will be egg legs, depending on peak. Probably 2 to 3 should be enough. But again, size, yeah. So even you can make different type, tiers type, parallel type, you know, varieties. You can buy, you can make. And I think there are quite a few, in case you are interested, quite a few resources nowadays available, like even in university sites or other sites. And I encourage you, a lot of things Julius will be talking, or I can say when I'm there also, if needed, for example. But also those are things like local farming system. Quite a few YouTube videos are available. Some of the farmers, based on experience, they will be uploading. There's nothing wrong. But again, I want to make you a little careful here. If you are watching, if you are learning, watch and learn from experienced professional people's video, because a lot of people nowadays make for fun. You know, you don't want to be spoiled by watching those things. They don't really care for money, they care for fun, you know, enjoy. But if there are a lot of things are which is really coming from some experienced farmers, experienced professionals, that is really good to learn from. Make sense? Any other question?
Time for one more.
Sure.
So
I told my wife, don't wait for me.
so you're mentioning about the stress and the chickens, and I think in one of our first Zoom meets, we were talking about the time of the year when chickens stop laying. How would you determine whether it's stress or, you know?
There are 2 things. First thing, when it is natural, what we call molting process, when it will pause for laying, and then it will leave the feathers, and then it will come back, you know. First thing that you can also determine by the age. Typically, it will go around like 52, 55, 56 weeks of the age, and then it will go drop. And that will be gradual process, you know. By nature, even you are feeding nicely, a time will come when production cycle will drop. You know, that is natural process, and that will be gradual. If it is stress, it will be drastic, all of a sudden. Very simple example. If you gave a stress, I told you literally it was supposed to be laying this morning, last night you gave a stress, it will hold the egg there. It can come out last minute. So very simple. It is gradual. It means natural physiological process. Now it's coming, because it's like kind of peak, you know. So when it starts like in your 21, 22, start laying, right? When it reaches 24, 25, it reaches on peak. Peak means like maximum, how many in the clutch it can give. Once it will reach toward your like 55, 56 to 8, depending on production system, management, how good feeding program you have, how many, lot of factors are there, right? Then it reaches the peak, then it will start dropping. Actually, that is the time you can even call. Sometime if you see now it's not worth as much it will eat, it will give you yield or not. And that can go for culling. And that you're going to start with like a new, another fresh batch, and that can be still used for meat purpose. I guess still can be sold, right, Julius? Here, I don't know what is market system here. I guess still you can sell, depending on market, depending on situation. Okay. So gradual, natural process. Abrupt, drastic, you created something wrong. Either in your diet, stress doesn't mean only making going frightened. Diet stress, health stress, environmental stress, any stress, as we human experience, right? You don't experience stress by just somebody else will shout on you. Work stress itself, I'm like whole day working, then you feel like tired, yeah? For them, it's nothing work, like our lifestyle is different than their. Any form of stress can create that.
So it seems like good record keeping would be an indicator of if it's stress or if it's natural or something like that.
And to me, I will say there must be record keeping, not good record keeping optional. No matter even you have only 5 birds, is fine. Still, you want to keep record. That will help you a lot in management. I told you, if you can't measure, you can't manage. You can only manage your farm if you can measure it. So you have to record when you got the chicks. You can't remember whether it is 24th week or 26th week. Maybe one time in the first lot you can be because you are enthusiastic, you started. Later, you have 100 things to do, right, in life, yeah? If you have record, you know exactly today is my 24th week or 26th week or 55th week, right? Or when you consume, how much feed came, how much was left over, how much was consumed, what money you invest. You want to have every details record. Probably Julius, or we can develop system like you don't have to have fancy system. It can be managed in the paper. You can create a spreadsheet. Nowadays, everybody has iPod or like computer. Even you don't have, just paper is fine. You can create like a record of different inventory. Yeah, all the that's my suggestion will be no option, must. Recording is very important for your business management. Same like any business. It's a business. Simple. It's business. It's not hobby farming. Okay.